Well, stress is an occupational hazard for law enforcement. Homicides, deadly crashes, shootings. Officers are trained to handle every call, but dealing with the aftermath of the horrific scene, there's not a class at the academy for that. Our Jory Talley talks with two deputies who have seen and gone through a lot. She joins us in the studio with that story.
That's right. Officers are the ones the public turns to when there's an emergency or when chaos is unfolding. Regardless of how emotional or traumatic a scene is, they have to park their emotions and react in a professional manner. But once the badge is off, the emotions are released.
No matter how long you've been in this profession, there will still be things, there will still be scenes, there will still be calls that will actually stick with you. Some for life, some takes a good while to get over.
Crime scenes of all kinds, homicides, shootings, assaults, chases. Law enforcement officers are the first on scene. Although they're highly trained, there are some things no amount of training can prepare you for.
Went and responded to a wreck with my training officer that would end up being a fatality with a baby in the car. And that was one of the first times where I sat there and said, I didn't know this was going to be like this. And how much more is coming, because this is like day 2 or day 3.
Captain Archie Williams has been in law enforcement for 2 decades. He's seen the worst of the worst and also has gone through one of officers' worst fears. Back in 2006, he and another officer responded to a domestic call. It was a call he'll never forget.
I took several blows to the back. My head was split open for a good bit, and I was actually knocked unconscious. So I don't know how long I was unconscious. It was a matter of seconds, I believe, when I did come to. The other officer there was lifeless on the ground, being beat in the head.
Williams says after situations like these, sometimes the best way to cope is by talking it through with other officers who have had similar experiences. Master Sergeant Kevin Forrester is one of those officers. Not long ago, Forrester was assisting with a 4-county chase that ended with him being shot.
That was one of the toughest things for me to be able to get over. I cannot tell you that I'm totally over it. There are a range of emotions that you go through.
The same thing can be said about the homicides Forrester has seen and worked over his nearly 25 years on the job.
Some of the ones hadn't gone away. And not to be particular about any certain one, but one where I was only an officer for 2 years, I still see it very vividly.
Both deputies say everything they've gone through has made them even more cautious on and off the job.